Hello, everybody. Here we are with our fifth episode of Talk Speed Up. Today, I'm once again here with Kbot, and this week we will be joined by Bagel and Jared. So yeah, let's do our good around, go around in circles. Just hello, who are you?
Yeah, nothing much new with me this week. I'm just here and along for the ride as per normal. It's been a wild week of Splatoon actually. So interested or looking forward to diving into it with these two who have been towards the top of most of the tournaments happening.
I was gonna say very involved with this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one of you wants to go.
Jay can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. What do you want me to say?
Who are you? Why are you relevant?
I'm Jared. I'm just gonna say I never played Splat 1 actually. Like I never touched the game ever. But like I got into Splat 2 when I fucking quit. When I quit Smash 4. I hated that game when Bagel came out, and then now I'm here. I don't know how I got here, but now I'm here.
And you're currently playing for Starburst? Question mark?
Yeah.
Is that an actual team?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we are. Yeah.
you're no longer
Let's double check.
I'm heard it here first.
All right. My name is Bagel. I'm a novice one trick for Sayonara, and I've been playing Splatoon since like Splatoon 1, but didn't play Splatoon 1 competitively. Only started playing Splatoon 2 competitively like in late 2019.
Yeah, I mean that's short, but I think you can also say that one thing that I've always loved about Bagel is kind of the speed run, right? He's like done the Splatoon community speed run where it's like
True.
you join amateur circuit, and I always like my friends were in amateur circuit. They're like, oh, Bagel's really good, and I thought to myself, yeah, probably good for an amateur circuit player. I don't care. And then 1 week later, he joined Sayonara and was just in +1 immediately, just destroying everyone. It's like the Splatoon community speedrun, amateur circuit to the top of the game. So that was I quite liked that, to be honest. But yeah.
Hey, man, I'm just gonna say, Bagel, you owe some of your success to me. Let me be real.
Oh.
Joined.
Okay.
We started bragging out together. I'm not gonna demean him, but he owes a bit of
Wow.
it to me.
Okay. I see.
All right. So I mean that's everyone pretty much, and I think if that's what people want to say in introductions, there's nothing else to go on to, then we'll just go on to the stuff that's gone on this week. You know, there's a lot been happening, and I think the first thing we're going to look at is going to be Area Cup, which was probably the first tournament, if we go chronologically, that happened. And if I'm not wrong, you guys were both the two NA teams that actually made it out of your groups on two different NA teams.
Well,
I
I
don't know about
played
Jared,
with
but
Europe.
I did.
I played with Europe. I made it out of groups, and I don't like we lost. I was with Creamy, Zeras, and NX, and we got knocked out round 1 of groups. Pretty unfortunate how we lost.
Oh, that's unlucky. I mean, I still think that making it into the bracket stage is nice in itself, you know. But I mean, Bagel, your team went on a killer run. If you just want to quickly tell us where you made it, if people didn't see somehow.
So it was me, Kara, Ice, and Biscuit, and we just went like comps that we just had fun with. Like we only had like 2 or 3 scrims beforehand, and one of the scrims Ice just DC'd like 10 times, and it was against Slaughterhouse. We couldn't do anything. But it was mainly our comp. We just had fun with it, and we're coming up with new ones for the next Area Cup.
But you got second place.
Yeah.
Which
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, you forgot about that.
Wait a minute. You're just going to completely blow past that part. Second place is the furthest that a Western team has gotten in an Area Cup. I think the previous was Alliance Rogue or like an Alliance Rogue pickup.
I think it was Dream.
Yeah, I think it was Dream.
Yeah, Alliance Rogue. It was Gru in WFB 4th. It was Dream in Area Cup 4th.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, like you guys got second. That ought to be pretty good. Like I woke up in the morning. I woke up like hours upon hours late. I didn't pay any attention to Area Cup. I was sleeping. And I woke up and I was like, they made second place? Like, what?
Dude, I was up for 24 hours or like 26 hours for that tournament. I went to sleep and I wake up, I'm like, bro, what the fuck? They got second. I was so shook.
You literally never sleep.
Yeah, but I was actually, because I played 3 tournaments that day. I played the CDS tournament, I played the Charity Cup, and then I stayed up for the Area Cup.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just crashed.
So yeah, I mean that was a big day of tournaments. Of course, you have the Charity Cup later, but I mean, if we stay on the Area Cup for now, so of course, as you said, you were playing a lot of comps that you just thought were fun, right? You were playing your kind of a lot. I think your main comp was the Mini Nautilus Junior, but you also sometimes sprang at the Nautilus Junior. Was there at all any kind of decision making or thought process for these comps, not to be rude, or was it literally just we have Biscuit and Bagel, so we're going to run 2 Spartlings, and then we need 2 juniors to paint the map and armor us? Was it as basic as that, or was there like anything else further behind it?
As basic as that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
I honestly
we just
expected
need
it.
the support for me and Biscuit to like substitute for Nautilus paint because he can't paint.
Yeah.
Ninja, you have the graphic of what.
Yeah, I was gonna say then. So, I mean, so that was, of course, that was the comp that a lot of people talked about. But if we go over and look at a lot of the other kind of comps in the tournament, I don't think it was the most kind of standard area cup comps. There's a Discord tab you can look at resources. There was a lot of, I think the ones that stick out for me, Elita had like a 30% pick rate or over 30% pick rate, which, you know, that's not the craziest pick rate in the world, but I think for Elita, you guys think that's big? Like, have you guys seen it in scrims, or do you think what do you think's going on?
Hang on. By the way, for reference, for those of you that like see these charts all the time, you like don't understand what they are. And like I was in that boat until like literally today. I put 2 and 2 together after I stared at this for a second. I was like, wait a minute, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, across the top, the way area cups work is that there's like 4 teams per group, right? And so you're put into a group, and then the top 1 team out of each group moves on to the single elimination bracket stage. So at the top, you can see all of the compositions. It's zones only. You can see all the compositions from each of the winning teams that made it out of each of those groups. So they're each given a number. A1 through 15 is the group. And then the top 8 list is at the bottom there. So you actually see like what first place got, what second place got, what third place got. The numbers at the top of the group part don't actually matter. They just associated with the group title. But the numbers at the bottom are the actual placement. Then, of course, there's like the calculation of how many times it was picked over everything. So for those of you that like see these things every once in a while and like don't understand what they are, that's what they are in a nutshell. So and a lot of times you see that these are kind of like thrown around very frequently just to like get a sense of like a pulse of what exactly people are playing. And to Matt's point, there are a lot of interesting picks here.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one thing to kind of like really guide conversation. What was the most like interesting thing that you guys saw?
For me in groups, we ran to a quadruple custom junior team. I don't know. That's all I saw.
Sounds like a meme.
Yeah, they definitely lost, but like it was mad annoying. Like we almost lost Piranha Pit because they just spam storms, auto bombs. It was just like mad annoying. But about the E-Leader thing, I feel like E-Leader is just being used more in Japan in general because like it can actually just one shot through armor. Like it doesn't care about armor sometimes when you have the opposite shredder. So I feel like that's the only reason they would run it over regular Charger.
Okay, so you don't think it's like has anything to do with, because I mean I think it paints it like, because honestly I don't know much about Elita because I try not to go near that weapon. I hate it, just as like not even like, even if it was good.
Okay, time out. Hang on, is there actually a Charger that you like to play, Matt?
Oh no, okay, not even just to play. It's just I kind of like playing Firefin sometimes from board-ish. Squiff, I loved Squiffer back in the day. I made a Squiffer montage when Splatoon 2 first came out. It's on my Twitter somewhere. I have like a 1-minute Squiffer montage. So I'd say that's probably the Charger that's probably closest to my heart, thanks to that idea. But I mean, Elita for me, it's just so slow. I hate slow weapons. I mold at Hydra too. But Elita for me, it's something that I don't really look at. Do you think the painting helps it at all? Because if I'm not wrong, you stack MPU and it paints a lot. Like
I've seen Eliters paint like 1.9k in a 5-minute game. Like
it just paints a lot.
It just paints too much, and then like it's also pretty oppressive when like you're finally set up, like you finally get to either where it wants to be, and then like it's really hard to get out of it. Like you basically have to like drop your whole special on him. It's just one guy, and then yes, you just back up, and there's more people to deal with. Like, dang, what do I do here? Do I push in more, or do I just get special again and go back in?
So on the note of that E-Leader, are we going to see it? Because a lot of the times, first of all, is it a current actual trend in Japan that we need to be concerned about? And then secondly, is it something that we're going to start seeing pop up in the West?
Well,
is Ice E-Leader going to come back?
Ice E-Leader? Maybe on some maps, but I don't think he'll get off the regular C-Jet or Firefin. I think he'll just stay on the way he's been used to for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Heavy 2's been working for you guys right now pretty well. I know it's a bit of a departure away from Charger and CJ, but I think Heavy's been the primary go-to. I will preface this by saying I've been pretty bad this weekend. Apart from Area Cup, I haven't seen the major tournaments. I've been studying a lot, but has the Heavy been sticking around? Because I mean, it's a bit going off topic, but I'm just curious. Like,
I feel like we're only gonna run it on TC mostly, maybe Clan Blitz, depending on how Ice feels, but it's basically a go-to pick for TC. We feel like they'll be as strong on there,
all right,
on that mode at least.
Just Booyah Bomb, pretty much.
Yeah, like it still special so hard. Like if they race spam while you be while I'm alive, what are you gonna do? I feel like it's actually pretty strong.
all right. So
Okay.
I think one thing I wanted to check in with Bagel as well. So of course, I would say that you're like what? Sorry, what? Can you tell me your pickup's name or pronounce it because it's like 9 million characters long. It's something called like Bocut Nation something.
Oh wait, which one? The with the biscuit and cider?
Yeah. Oh no. Biscuits, Ice, and Chara.
Oh,
Because you said you might do Area Cup again.
Bocut Nation 2.0.
Okay, Bocut Nation 2.0. So you and Bocut Nation 2.0. Of course, you guys don't run a traditional kind of back or anything. Does it make it harder to deal with the Elita stuff, or is it like how is the what is the difference in playing with and without it? I think especially with potentially Sayonara as well. I know that's a bit too far forwards, but what is like the difference in playing with and without the back? And is it nicer to play against the back? Is it not as nice to play against the back? Like how does it feel?
I think it's really hard to play without a back whenever they have a back. Like especially during Area Cup, I just got shut down really hard by Peon. He just kept sniping me and like no one could contest him at all. And then like at the yesterday's tournament, I just kept like raining me and stuff like that, and I couldn't like push him or get him out anywhere, or no one could actually. So yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think
whenever they set out, we can't do anything.
I mean, I think Pion is he's also just hard to deal with. I remember that this is one of the tournaments I watched, and I was just watching Pion, and I was like, how do you play against this? Like, how do people not say charge is broken when Pion's in the game? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like one of the things like that I've found interesting is, obviously the West has gone away from the anchor composition. Do you think that's like the large part that we've just gone away from anchors? Do you think that's obviously like that had to do something with ink armor, I imagine, but like, is that because is that because there isn't enough talent like Pion, say, for example, right? Like, if there was a player that like all of a sudden was just hitting every single shot, like obviously at that point Charge is just busted anyway. But I assume it would probably still have a place, would it not?
Backline definitely still has a place. It's just more of like a lot of teams are just playing what they want now, or like Alexa hasn't been playing that much. He has his own team now with Urza and stuff. Hypno still plays backline with AR, and they still do pretty good in like our Western tournaments. We have Ice, of course, and like Power plays at Slaughterhouse. There's still a lot of backline players, but now like teams like Sayo, they're running like really, really aggressive comps with not FT Win, not like it's either you have a not or you have a backline, I feel.
Yeah.
Other than that, you still see anchor a lot.
I mean, I feel like Naught's kind of like that nice substitute because it doesn't really do backline things, but I think it helps a lot with the aggression. It's just for me how I've always seen Naught, and again this is like scrub opinions, but I feel like it just cleans up very, very well. Like you can just kind of sit there with your charge, and someone's 1 HP, you just laser them like with hit scan from across the map, like out of nowhere, and they just shred. If they're 1 HP, it's always felt like that sort of weapon to me either way. But I think the one last kind of weapon I wanted to touch on heavily, right? Because if you see here, I think there's only like 4 or 3 pros overall that made it out of groups. But the main thing that stands out to me is the fact that there's 3 Kenza pros out of 5 in the top 8, right? And for a lot of people that might not sound too crazy, but for Japan don't play Kenza Pro on zones. I can't remember the last time I've seen like 1 Kenza Pro make it out of groups in an area cup, and there's 3 in top 8. Like,
actually,
why do you guys think Kenza Pro's doing better? Or yeah.
Well, I feel like a while ago, like even I can go back. I'm pretty sure it was a K-Pro that made it out, like got second, and they lost to some double mini team. But K-Pro's
really?
actually it paints a lot more than people actually think. Like when you watch JPs play, they just play for Booyah Bomb. They get like 1.7, 1.6 just from Booyah alone, and just painting the map. Like they don't have to play aggressive with it. It actually does what it's supposed to do in terms of painting.
And that's probably one of the things too when even if you're playing without a backline, right? Having that Kenza Pro that has a little bit more range, that can paint a little bit more than perhaps you'd expect, and has the ability to shut things down with the Booyah Bomb, with a simple press of a button, just like, nope, all of a sudden you cannot instantly kill me, or no, all of a sudden you're not going to push that objective at least for the next 2 seconds. That's probably relatively powerful. And I know, Jared, that's a pick that you've kind of been favoring a lot more lately than like a traditional K shot. As a matter of fact, we've got to say, falling off of like a traditional TED attack in favor of things like the K Pro. Can you kind of comment on that and maybe like what is it that is so much more attractive of that K Pro rather than just like the traditional K shot that we're used to seeing?
Well, in my case, I just haven't been playing the game that much. I just go for my comfort pick right away. Like yesterday, I didn't play the game for like 6 or 5 days or something like that, and I was just like, man, my aim's so bad. I should have played K Pro. Right now, I can't do it. So in my case, it was just a comfort pick. I don't know about others, but I'm definitely gonna go back on shot once I feel a bit more comfortable on it.
Okay,
That's fair.
makes sense.
I think I'm going to ask kind of like one kind of aimless question. So this has like no analysis behind it, no anything, but I'm going to ask everyone. All right, so this is a question for everyone, like kind of one by one. So we've made it to 4th place in Area Cup. We're kind of going up bit by bit, right? We've made it 2nd. Aimless guess, or maybe prediction, maybe you know who's going to do it. Who do you think is going to be the Western team that takes Area Cup for the first time in the future? It's got to happen. It's starting with anyone.
It's going to be a pickup. It's not going to be an actual team.
I feel like
Boca
any team
Nation.
with Zeras has a chance, in my opinion. Any
Yeah?
team with Zeras can
That is
actually
true.
win Area Cup, in my opinion.
Any team with Zeras.
Yeah, any team with Zeras. That guy is fucking insane. Like, he can literally like a lot of problems that like we have with Japan. It's just that we can't challenge their backlines mostly because most of us play with pickups, not usually with backlines. Like when we had power, we got to like 4th. Zero got to 3rd with Q and Boca Nation. Well, I just feel like Japan's not used to playing against Not as well. Like they never play against Not. So I just felt like they fucking shredded them all the time. So I feel like any team with Zeras or of course Boca FT win, maybe Starburst as well if we actually grind for it. Like any of them can take it in like the near future.
Do you think
Also,
any
I think like our pickup can also do it because like we're gonna scrim more. Like we only scrimmed twice that time, and we're gonna actually like establish comps and stuff like that. And we have like one top player from like all 4 top teams right now in NA, which is like Sayo for the win, Starburst, and Supernova. So yeah.
So, first of all, I can definitely guarantee you that it is not going to be a like normal team, or at least normal in the sense of like North America, right? The first team that wins this thing is going to be more or less a super team along the, if not exactly what Bagel was, doing with Boca Nation, something along those lines, right? Where it's going to be some of the most talented players across the board that are coming on forward. I think it also probably depends on the field, right? If Pion's on the other team, are they going to win? I don't know, right? So it depends on who's available on that given day, right? And it depends on who else is entering the tournament. So I think it's definitely going to be something interesting to watch out for. To see exactly, I don't think it's a race either.
Yeah, it's definitely not a race because like a lot of teams they just can't play because it's too late. Like you're choosing out of a bowl of who you're playing with the Area Cup most of the time, and like it's also really hard for us to win as well because we're all tired. We're all like staying up to playing it. We don't want to oversleep, so it's really hard on us for general to play our best in Area Cup and form to get to finals.
Hey Jared, the counter argument to that was I would say that like anytime a top Japanese team has played in a Western tournament, they still win the Western tournament.
Dude, we accommodate so much for them. No. We accommodate so much for them. We play at like 11. I wake up at 8 USD, and I'm a night owl personally, so it's like I wake up really early for these like majors. It's just really hard for me to play sometimes.
Look, I feel bad for the Japanese people that are playing to like 1 a.m. to 5. No, I feel bad for in Splatoon 1 when the Japanese people would play from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. and then get speed tested in grand finals. That's that's where I feel bad for them the most, honestly.
Dude, I've been trying to wake up to watch the League of Legends World Championship taking place in China. I literally cannot wake up. It's only like 6 o'clock in the morning. I cannot wake up for this thing, and I'm only trying to sit there and watch the games. I don't even have to like play. I just want to wake up to watch, and I can't even do that. So
I'm just saying Europe's GOAT region, right? Because Asia, we just need to be up at like midday, like a little bit earlier. Europe is just like normal Europe times, and then NA we stay up a little bit late. We're actually the perfect GOAT region for esports.
Yeah, I get it.
I
You're
think
privileged.
God, that was one very small thing I was going to say, but I've completely forgot it, so I'm not going to say it. Unless there was anything else anyone wanted to talk about to do with Area Cup. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I think, kind of closing note, the one big second between kind of these high placements and first is I feel like in Area Cup, there's always going to be like the Japanese super team with Pion and, you know, the brother player, was it Shu? Was like crazy. He was crazy. I don't know. I feel like there's always going to be this super team that's going to be the super boss. I don't think it's going to be soon that a Western team wins Area Cup, to be honest. And I know that's not the greatest thing that everyone wants to hear, but I do just think that every time there's going to be a team with Pion. There's going to be a team with, like, maybe it's, I never know how to pronounce his name, but the guy that gets 3000 X power in every mode every month, like Rocket. Is it?
Chocobero?
Yeah, Chocobero. There you go. Someone did it for me. Yeah, I always think there's going to be a team like that that's going to be like, they're going to be the final boss to defeat every single time.
Yeah. So maybe it'll be interesting. I mean, maybe we'll host some kind of a major that attracts a Japanese team, and maybe that'll be the first time that, you know, one of our teams beats them.
AR
on our home time zone.
And pay to SWAT in our own time zone.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
They've done it twice, actually. Twice. But we
All
don't talk about the second time.
I think we're probably going to move over now on the kind of similar topics, but to talk about Ink for Pink. So, of course, this was the Charity Cup. Again, you guys both played in it. So, you guys were just involved in everything going on right now, because not only were you the two only Western teams to make out of groups in Area Cup, you were the two teams in Grand Finals for Ink for Pink, on Ink for Pink. Of course, Jared's team winning in the end, but I mean, it wasn't close. It was probably one of the closest Splatoon series, like overall, combining Grand Finals and bracket resets, there's been in a long time, in a way.
I mean, we kind of got bodied for like.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing. Like, we only turned up in the last 4 games. Like, we told Silver to get off armor. Like, he just went K-Pro.
Nah, it's because it was always zones. You just kept choosing zones. Then you couldn't choose zones anymore.
Before, and we were like, "Oh, we're gonna win this time. We're gonna win so badly." And then, then the TLs are like, "Oh, you can't pick zones for the 4th time." I'm like, bro.
And then you started winning.
Yeah, then we started winning. But like, yeah, I'm honestly surprised we won that. I was like, bro, I don't even want to play anymore. I'm so tired. I just want to go back to sleep.
I didn't get to see the series, but I just want to quickly highlight. I think being down 7 games and then winning 4 in a row is like a massive fucking achievement. Like, I've not seen a ton of people talk about it. Maybe more people are talking about a stream. Again, unfortunately, I'm a criminal. I missed it. But I think it's a massive achievement. Like, we've seen reverse sweeps before, and alright, maybe it's not a KP Olive reverse sweep. Maybe it's not like a, you know, crazy top teams, but it's close to top. You know, it's pretty much at the top level of teams. If you've lost 7 games in a row, like, how was your team mentally in VC? Because I saw Nylon say something like, we'd given up in VC, but we still won somehow after being down 7 games. Like, how do you actually do that?
Nylon was so depressed, like, oh my god, man. On God, if we lose a Sayo, I'm gonna quit the game for a week. On no reason do we lose this after we got to game 7, is what he said. But, like, it was pretty funny, though, because he was actually so sad. And then we just brought it back. And, like, I don't know how we did it, honestly. Like, Ice was barely talking. Silver does not voice chat, so I don't know how he was feeling. I was feeling pretty like I thought we were gonna fucking lose.
Yeah.
I just
You did it because you're super, Jared.
Exactly.
Like, exactly. Like,
Best player in the world.
I'm not gonna say I carried. Honestly, I did not carry. Like, Silver like turned up in the end. Like, this guy does not play the fucking game.
Yeah.
At all.
I wanted to ask about Silver. Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because I checked his Twitter. He has nothing about Splatoon. He didn't tweet about the tournament. He just turned up and won, and he's a ranked Smash player. Like, what?
Yeah.
He's
ranked 2nd in Arizona. He's actually pretty fucking good. He's like top 100 or something in Smash.
Yeah, because he's PR player.
Yeah, and then like I've known him for like 6 years, 7 years. So like I've been with him like the whole time mostly. And he's like, oh, I want to play SWAT. I'm like, sure, let's play this charity tournament, and we won. And I was just like, bro, no way. He doesn't even play the game.
Yeah,
I play it actually.
I don't really get people like that. They just like they don't touch the game. They're like top in another game. Like they're actually a PR player in another game, and they're just like, man, I want to play Splatoon. Hey, can I just go and win a tournament with you? You don't mind?
Here's the thing, right? Is that like it's one thing like, okay, congratulations, you got carried to like, you know, some later part of the tournament. But actually winning the tournament against a team that is 4 very strong players
He didn't even get carried too. He actually did pretty fucking
Yeah.
good. If
Yeah.
I say so myself.
Like what? But like winning that requires all 4 of your players to actually like be competent at the game. You know, you can't just like have 3 people trying to play the game. Like a 3v4 in that like top level is just never going to work. So the fact that he was able to pull this whole weight is like really impressive.
See,
Yeah, like he actually got me into the game. Now that I think about it, like he got me into the game. He's like, bro, I don't want to play Smash anymore. And he's like, oh, you want to play this? I'm like, sure. And he's kind of the one who taught me most like how to play the game, how it works. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this for a while. And yeah, that's how I got here.
so the Super Jared was born from Silver, the ranked Smash player that no one heard of until he just won a tournament. Well, no one in Splatoon heard of, obviously.
Yeah, I guess you can say that.
I think I'm going to direct it over to Bagel now. So, you guys in this tournament, so you came off what? So first off, was it the same pickup that was an Area Cup? Because again, I wasn't keeping up. So
Nah, it was actually just Sayonara plus Biscuit.
okay, so Sayonara plus Biscuit minus who?
So it's like me, Sun, DJ, and Biscuit.
All right, so minus Burning plus Biscuit. So it's definitely a strong team.
Yeah.
You guys were really dominant in Swiss stage day 1, like just completely rolled. And then you lost to Conton in round 2. Like, how was it? Like, what was the set like against Conton? Can you I mean, Kbot that was watching, but Bagel that was playing as well. Like, what was the set like? Like, how were they playing? How did they beat you up?
We were all out of it because of the area cup beforehand as well, and we just didn't want to play anymore. But they also played like really well as well.
That's the interesting thing. So Conton's a little weird in this tournament because like they made it to winners finals to lose to Super Jared's team, and then lost to the losers finals, so they ended up 3rd in the tournament overall. I think probably because you guys on Bobeyo, Seo, Court, whatever, like you guys actually like found your groove after a while. Probably took a little bit of a mental reset, and as you mentioned, you've literally played the game. You played it for like 4 hours day 1, then another 4 hours for Area Cup, and now 4 hours again. So you're probably not feeling yourselves 100% there, but that's the interesting thing about Conton is that like they're actually like not a terrible team. Now I will say like asterisk on that's not actually Conton, because I'm pretty sure like Scooter was playing with them, right? As opposed to actually Conton, or I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the roster is off the top of my head, but it's not actually Conton, like the same exact team you would see enter some European tournament. So like maybe that's something to also look at and take with a little bit of a grain of salt. But it was definitely interesting to see that roster come out and perform rather well for a team that we weren't exactly expecting. Like, sure, someone has to take 3rd, but if I was looking at this, I probably wouldn't have guessed Conton exactly. But it was good to see them come out nonetheless, and it gave me fuel for the North America versus Europe debate because we don't see these European teams like anymore. Where are you guys?
You reminded me something. I saw something on Twitter, and now I realise why Conton had a better run than the usual Conton. Like, I'm not dissing Conton here. I think Conton are a great team. However, it was Conton plus J Sushi plus Scooter Joel.
Yeah.
So, J Sushi, of course, I think a strong like kind of +2 player on priority currently, if I'm not wrong.
Sounds right.
+1 now.
Oh, yeah, +1 player on priority. Then you have Scooter Joel also in +1, or did he get kicked? I'm not sure, but he has been in +1.
I think so in.
All right, so 2 +1 players subbing, and then you have like the best players on Conton. Because Conton's one of those teams, right, where they're a little bit of a funny team, where they have like 12 members. So you're either gonna get like only just in +2 Conton, or you're gonna get pretty much Div 1 Conton, depending on which 4 members they field on the day, which it can be a bit varying. So I think they kind of had the thing where they fielded a couple of their best players plus had 2 subs. So it's Conton with an asterisk. Not to downplay their players. I think Conton has some great talent on their team. I think, especially for me, Alex, been in +1 for ages, and Anto are 2 very, very strong players. But it's Conton with an asterisk.
Well, the other thing, though, to think about there, right, is that Conton with an asterisk, say that all you want, but at the same time, those are also 2 players that you might not expect to see at like the very top, right? Like if you were to say, put priority or put enlightenment versus Sayonara probably wins that one 90% of the time, right? But they were able to pull it out, and I guess they had like good enough pickup synergy there. And obviously you guys said that you weren't playing your A game there, Bagel, but like still, even for that roster, like that's probably an accomplishment, nothing exactly to scoff at.
Yeah, I mean, I think moving back to the grand finals, kind of from Bagel's perspective, I kind of feel mean doing this in a way because it's kind of like, why did you lose? But I mean, I guess I'm trying to pick apart, right? So you have the
They lost
momentum.
because they couldn't pick zones.
You have the momentum. You won 7 games in a row. Was it because you couldn't pick zones? So you won 7 games in a row, and then you just couldn't take a game for 4 in a row. Like, what was going on for your team? Like, explain yourself.
Well, I mean, like for the zones, well, I mean, we have good comfort zones, but then for TC, we had like nothing to stop tower because it's only like double inkjet, double armor, or whatever, or missiles, so we couldn't stop tower at all. And for like Clamblitz, we couldn't also like push out because of the specials. And same thing for Rainmaker, basically. Just the specials that we chose that we couldn't really do as well as we did in zones.
All right. So basically, your team composition was just kind of very zones based. I guess you just couldn't play. So basically, zones won tricks is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, yeah, they couldn't pick back to zone, so they lost.
I mean, that's fair enough, and I guess that's where the format came through. I wasn't fully sure what the format went. I'm not gonna lie, I was a complete criminal this weekend because I got pinged 5 minutes before my commentary block, and I didn't know it was on. I forgot I was doing it. So I just kind of joined VC in a rush, and they were telling me the format, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then I was being told I have to read out sponsors, and I was like, sure, yeah. And when Nine was reading out the sponsors, I forgot I was supposed to be chiming in. I was just saying, yeah, Nine, I agree. And then just being silent while he was doing all the sponsors. And then, yeah, so I had a bit of a rough week, to say the least, on my contribution.
Well.
But nonetheless, I mean, it was a weird counterpicking format. Like, someone want to run over? Does anyone have the TLDR of how the counterpicking format worked?
So the primary TLDR is for the first little bit. There were, or like for Swiss stage, there was 2 maps that you could pick for many mode. One, like the starter, was zones or whatever, and you could just counterpick anything that was in that little limited pool. I can't honestly remember how Swiss worked in terms of like if you were allowed to go back to zones 3 times in the set or not. But the way it worked on day 2 was you could only pick a mode 2 times over the course of this set. So it didn't matter whether it was a best of 5 or a best of 7. You could only play on zones. Zones was always the starter map. And then the enemy or the losing team could counterpick to anything in the map pool as long as it had not, or that mode had not been played twice on over the course of the set, and the map couldn't have been played on at all. So basically, like if 2 teams pick zones like back to back in the first 2 games, and you're still carrying on after 3, then the next game in the series can't be zones as well.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a best of 5 or best of 7. I think it's an okay format. I think it's a little bit weird because it doesn't solve the problem in best of 5s where you still potentially play zones 3 times. Now, granted, if you're playing zones 3 times and you've lost zones twice, counterpicking to zones is kind of a questionable choice in my opinion. So I don't know how many teams actually did that. And then you're kind of like waiving all of your rights because you're like, yes, I wanted to play on zones and then I ended up losing anyway. So if you're about to go back and complain that you played on only zones, that's your own fault. But like otherwise, then in like the best of 7s, it forces that at least 1 game out of the 4 that a team could win has to be on a non-zones map, which apparently ended unfavorably for Sayonara and graded Super Jared the win.
Yeah. So I guess that there's the TLDR. I kind of get what's going on, but I probably still need another rundown. But we're not going to do that now, obviously.
We're not gonna
I mean,
I meant
for
your
future.
guys' thoughts?
But yeah, that's why I wanted to check. Like, as a player specifically, like, was it like playing in this format? Because you guys aren't spectators.
You go, Jared.
Wait, what?
I'll let Bagel go. Jared can go afterwards. Bagel, go first.
All right, the format. I don't really like counter picks, honestly. I just like having a map list and just playing that, like knowing what to practice beforehand or knowing what maps we will play eventually, and just thinking about like comps and stuff beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think that's probably one of the more rare opinions, question mark, you'd say. Most people are saying they like counter picks from what I see. Like, I'm not saying I like it either way. I honestly am happy with both. I'm never one that really cares too much about it. But I'd say that more people I see enjoy counter picks.
Jared, thoughts?
I actually like the format like a lot, but like of course we weren't gonna plan like what maps we're gonna go and stuff because we're a pickup, so we're just kind of default to zones every time. But for like majors and stuff, I really like how that's formatted. Like they can't win off of one mode. That's perfectly fine. Like I feel like in this game it shouldn't be, oh, you're good at one mode and one mode only.
Right.
Congrats, man, you won the tournament. Like nah, I feel like that's wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really agree with this format a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to hear. I mean, I personally didn't get it too much. I think one thing I wanted to ask about formatting actually, because something that I see in a lot of other games, again specifically because this is the kind of token. I feel like everyone has that token other esport they follow. For me, it's Overwatch. Is they'll have it follow kind of, you have the 4 game types, kind of similar to Splatoon. You have 4 game types, and you have the Splat Zone similar on Control that you'll always play in game 1 and 5, and then through game 3 you have a set order of where you have to play them. So the order is something like, let's say it's Control, then Hybrid, then Payload, then Assault, right? And you have to play it in those order. Then you can pick the maps out of those. So, do you guys think it's better or worse if you're forced to play like Splat Zones, Tower, Rainmaker, Clam, Splat Zones, then you get the map freedom? Like, do you think that's a better or worse system than kind of what people are approaching right now, where you get to pick your mode?
I feel like that's really, really worse in my opinion. Because then,
Yeah.
like, sure, some maps are kind of same-ish, like in terms of we can't choose our mode, right? Like we just can't choose it.
No,
We were
you
playing
can't
like
choose your
set.
mode at all. You have the set order of like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's really bad then, because like they could just, if they're doing counter picks and picking the maps, they can default to a map that's kind of same-ish to like a map they won on before. Like they won on camp, or yeah, you won on camp, you can go to like Albacore or something, do basically the same strat, and then you're most likely gonna win because you're practicing that map, which is also fine for your team because well they practice it, but like I actually just think like, well, I think mode diversity is better than map diversity.
I kind of think the opposite of that. I think like having a set like order to it's better because like Jared said earlier, like when one team just wins off of one mode, that's not that good because you can just kind of pick zones over and over or whatever, like you guys did.
Okay, you're right. You're right though. But like the format for Inker Pink is just like you can't win on one mode only. But like
Right.
that format's fine.
Yeah.
You can still pick your mode, but you can't go to it too much. Like I feel like that's a good compensation to have, and they
I
thought that out
mean,
really well.
I feel like if they're gonna do that, then like just lower how many times you can actually counter pick to that. Just like
So you're
maybe
gonna
1 or 2
contribute
times.
to
Actually, just one
once,
time.
'cause- yeah, because we only doing it 2 times. Yeah.
Yeah, probably only like once, right, for a best of 5. But I will say, like, kind of interesting to hear that take, Jared, because when I'm like thinking about how I'm setting up counterpicking rules, typically I normally am of the opinion that the mode has much more weight on the game overall than the map.
Yeah.
But like to your point, it's kind of interesting to hear that you think that like a specific map could actually hold that much weight or pull in any given instance. And I guess like some of the times now that I'm like watching the game, recently I've been watching the game on a little bit more of an analytical level. And the more I'm like watching this, the more I'm like, yeah, okay, actually there are just some maps that just benefit from such a faster playstyle. Like again, like a composition like Sayonara, and this is something we can talk about when we get to the set from last night. Like a composition from Sayonara is just going to completely start tearing through because they're just going to continue pushing forward, and there's no really good holding points from the other side. So, you know, those kinds of things are also a little bit interesting as well to kind of think through. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think having, generally speaking, because the mode has much more of an impact, having that as a counterpickable option is important, I think, in rule sets. Because, you know, when we're going to these more rotating modes, it's like, that's great, but that kind of like, I feel like giving them the map is more of like a courtesy thing than anything else, right? It's not like actually something that really could change exactly how you want to play the game in a lot of cases. And granted, like, again, like I said, there are some maps that are going to be more favorable to some compositions or some play styles rather than others. But at the same time, like, I feel like you're not going to fundamentally change the way you want to play the game based upon a map. You're going to fundamentally change the way you want to play the game based on the mode. And I think that's like one of the main reasons why you would want counter picks in general to have that. So that's my 2 cents on the whole. That's also why that's honestly one of the reasons why I like the counterpicking format. I mean, obviously, I like the counterpicking format that I made, but that's one of the reasons why, like, I was a strong proponent of the Genesis 7 counterpick system back when we did that for a LAN that allowed for even like one mode strike, right? So the winning team gets to take off a mode that you can't counterpick to in the next game. Again, the only reason we're able to do that is because you're able to look each team dead in the eye and say, give me a mode, as opposed to just like waiting for a random message to maybe appear on Battlefy or Discord or somewhere. But like, I think that also is like the ideal balance. Granted, it's just frustrating because, time limits are a thing. And if we did that for every game, we'd be sitting here for who knows how much longer online. So yeah, that's kind of the thing in general. But overall, I think like having that mode flexibility is a good thing in general.
All right, so I think we've all given our. Again, I always like to pause just because I don't want to rush on if people have stuff to say. But I'm pretty sure we've kind of gone through a lot of the ink pink stuff, gone through the format stuff. I think the one thing we're gonna kind of touch about, like especially on your two. I mean, that's kind of the next segment. Is literally called Sayonara and Starburst. Because I mean, mainly because you guys, I mean, you two in particular, but your teams especially, have been doing a lot this week. You've done a lot this week, and I think the one other tournament we can talk about a little bit, but less so about the tournament, more so focus on you guys, was the consultant. Remind me the name of the tournament that happened last night?
Swimmer Sync 5.
Swimmer Sync 5, yeah. And you guys played each other 3 times, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I heard of this tournament this morning, so this is going to be a big carry from Kbot and you guys to tell me about it, but, like, you guys can basically dive a lot into, like, what you think of each other. I mean, I think Kbot had a lot of ideas, so I'm going to let Kbot take over.
Yeah, so I guess, like, the main interesting the thing that I want to hear the most is especially reflecting on perhaps, like, the set from last night where you guys were almost playing with your full rosters. Obviously, Zero was in for Sayonara, but Starburst was about what we'd expect coming out of a Starburst comp, right? Or a Starburst, team. What I'm most interested to hear, and this is going to be challenging, so bear with me for a second. But I want each of you to explain the other team's playstyle.
Oh, that's easy.
So, all right. Well, if it's so easy, Bagel, go first.
I feel like Starburst spams a lot of specials. Like Ice, he has a lot of rays each games, a lot of booyahs each games, or a lot of missiles each game, or a lot of armors. So that's why whenever the first set happened, I struggled a lot because I just got outspecialed, and I tried to keep up by getting like 8 inkjets once, but I just couldn't keep up with it.
So you think well, I mean, like, that's it? It's literally just special spam, you think?
I think so, yeah. And also like individual skill, like with Jared pushing up and actually getting kills, and it's skill, I guess.
Alright, so special spam and skill. So basically Splatoon.
Special spam and skill. Yeah, so basically every single time.
You
But I
got
mean,
it
like-
right down to the nail, man. I'm so proud of you.
No, but look, because like a lot of other teams, they don't really special spam that much. Like, yeah, they do, but Starburst, it's like JP level. They go like over the top.
Are they approaching
like-
Gru level? Because I played one scrim in the last month, and it was against Gru, and I got raided at the start of. How do people fucking play against this shit? I know I'm a fucking small mini rant. I know I'm pretty much at this point. Let's admit it. I'm a casual player. I can't meme about it anymore. I can't meme UK champion. I'm a casual player at this point, right? But how the fuck do people play against Gru when like Hypnos can charge his ray faster than your armor unless you're running 9 million special charge, and then she breaks your armor and kills you anyway, and then Kibba's just running up and murdering you anyway, and then Gray just sits on tower throwing bombs, killing you with every single bomb, and he can win the 1v1s with Junior. Like, how do you fight Gru with all their special? Mini ran over, but
all right, mini ran over.
Yeah,
I want to keep this focused on Sayonara and Starburst for
Well, we
today.
just scrimmed them, but like, I'll just keep. It's off topic. Never mind.
Okay, give us the 2-sentence summary. How do you do it?
Well, we actually did pretty good in my opinion. Like, they did their typical special spam, but like when they have, they're gonna farm special. You always know they're gonna get it before you. Just somehow they just are. So you're just like, okay, let's just not fight it. Let's jump out and play retake. Because then they have no specials to actually hold zone because they're blowing it all for one take. And yeah, then you play normal splat zones from there once you get the first retake, or you mess up your retake and lose the game just from that because you jumped out.
So basically, Matt, the goal is to not hold forward.
Yeah, well, the problem is I had Rob and Nylon on my team, just brain dead machine brush players, so I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Just see Nightline and Rob, man. They're great players, very respectable, especially Nightline and Rob, man. I love those players. Like, I'm being genuine right now. I love those players.
bringing this back on in, Jared, what is like Sayonara's like play style?
Sayonara, bro, they play so aggro, especially off DJ. I feel like a lot of it comes down to how good DJ and Bagel are like playing that day. Cause Sun is just support. He's painting for them.
Son is
I
trash.
don't mean to roast Sun, but he's just painting for them.
Nah, he's bad. Roast him.
And, you know, and then it just comes down to mostly DJ and fucking Bagel. Cause like DJ's insane, man. He's just that good. Like, let me be real.
He
He's just
really
that.
is.
True.
Yeah, he's just a better player than most people. And be real.
I mean,
Like-
that's what. Sorry to interject here, but that's like what I was looking at on stream, right? I was casting the both grand sets last night, and just like watching DJ play. It's like, where has this slosher been for the past like months? You know, it's been months since I've seen DJ actually play and pop off, and it's so much fun to watch, honestly, because he just like finds the absurd angles and finds these positions just surprise you from things you weren't expecting because you haven't played sploshers or you know played against buckets and like again
Correct.
months upon end here at the top level. They're just so fun and so interesting to watch because even Kyo, right, is mostly playing, you know, sloshing machine as opposed to actual sloshers, and those sloshers can just put out a little bit more AoE on the whole, which has been fun to watch.
Look, I'm just gonna keep going with the brain dead comments, but I just want to one word. Regular slosher fucks. That weapon just like you watch like
Yeah.
like I miss watching Plantro. He just walks in and he just fucks straight up. Like
Yeah.
it's I love watching the weapon. I'm just basically agreeing with you, but I just want to get because I just want to vouch for Bucket out there. So everyone go and learn Soda Slosher. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, carry on with your actual smart conversation.
But like, yeah, they have a lot of missiles too. Sometimes Bagel will play mini, and then you're just seeing with double missile with DG on V slosh. It's just so much AoE and pressure. It's just like you gotta respect it so much. And like
Yeah.
we just weren't expecting that yesterday. Like we
I
didn't
could tell.
Yeah, because
and here's the other thing, like watching that set from the commentator's perspective. The other thing, not only is Sayonara inherently aggressive, but then you throw in Zero to the rest of that composition. You sub burning out for Zero, and all of a sudden Zero is like on the other end of the spectrum of like hyper aggressive, where he is literally trying to spawn camp you every single opportunity he gets. like all of a sudden it's just like, yep, there he goes, flying over the wall again, attacking spawn with an inkjet.
Yeah, like sometimes that can go wrong for Zero though. Like he'll push up way too far, like even more than DJ. And I already think DJ pushes up so far. And like once Zero pushes up, like the push is over. Like he dies for free. Then you're like, okay, time to play retake, and then you just go from there 4v3. But like, yeah, it went well for them yesterday. We just weren't ready for it. Let me be real. Like we've been doing pickups for like the past three weeks before. Like we did not play the game together, but neither have they, I guess, because they don't.
Yeah,
play
we don't have a consistent fourth yet.
Yeah, consistent
Like
fourth, yeah.
Burning has been playing, but not as of recently. He's been doing college.
I know you guys have been at least playing the game. At least you and DJ have.
Yeah, Sun doesn't. He plays Valorant.
me and Sun have been playing Valorant. Brand hasn't touching the game that much. Ice plays the game a lot, and Ant only plays when we get on, so we haven't been playing as much as we thought we could. So we just weren't ready for all of it, and then yeah, it clearly showed. They destroyed us in like grands.
Well, but the interesting thing is, I didn't watch much of the winners final set, but Starburst ends up winning that like in a game 5. So what inherently changed between the winners final set and the grand set?
They adapted. Like we just played how we did before. Like there was no coordination on our side. We just kind of played the game. We're like, okay, what do we do? And then we just got like pretty lucky in the first set. We were like, we were just around each other. Like we didn't really call out where we were going and stuff. It just happened, and like we won. Like, oh shit, we're in grands, and then we lost grands. Yeah.
That's fair.
So basically, you did the turn your brains off, just try and play as good as you can. But the other team was also doing that, but then they turned their brains off. They turned their brains back on in grands and won. That's what you're telling me.
Basically,
Damn.
like we just had no plan going into it. Like we usually, like for the NA Open, we had a plan. For JP, like Western Cup, like we had a plan as well. But this time it was a weekly. We're just thinking, oh, we're just gonna play it for fun, maybe
Yeah.
win. we had no plan going into it.
That's fair.
I suppose that's the thing with the weekly as well, is even if you have like some good teams playing against each other, like these are two, like I'd say right now you have to definitely say that it's kind of the second and third NA team in whatever order you want to put it in. Sayonara and Starburst, I'd say the second and third NA team. I don't know if anyone would disagree with that. If we including FT Win as existing, but
yeah, nobody better not disagree with that top 3. That's solidified as hell.
But I think like you obviously like even if you have those people playing, they're not going to be tryharding like NA Open. Like NA Open, people are going to be scrimming for it. People are going to be playing the maps. People are going to be preparing against opponents. A weekly, it's nice to see the results and it's nice to see the storylines of these top teams playing against each other. But it's not going to be the same because they're not preparing before the tournament for sink or swim.
If like the way I think of it, this just adds on to how they will think about in the major. Like, they're just adding fuel to the fire. Let's see how this goes on in the major. Let's see what drama comes from it. That's how I think about it in my.
I think especially if FT Win actually don't enter the next NA Open, then it'll actually be nice to see. We won't know who the winner's going to be before the tournament. We'll have to wait until the end of the tournament to know who the winner is. So that'll be a lot more interesting. Unless you guys are pretty sure that you're winning already. But I mean, you know.
I will say, Starburst or Corollary has kind of gotten consistently second. Now, granted, they're also like most of the times they're on the opposite. That's because they're on the opposite side of the bracket from FD Win. But I mean, like, maybe that's an interesting point, Jared. It's obviously we have no idea when the next NA Open is, and we don't know if FT Win is going to play. How comfortable do you feel if FT Win doesn't play?
I mean, I feel pretty confident, honestly. Like, I don't want to like demean anybody, but I feel pretty confident. Like, of course it could go either way, but like, I feel like when it comes down to it, if we just prepare more, I feel like we're just gonna win the majority of the time if we're prepared.
I think if we're gonna go outside of you guys, because I want to kind of, I want to see if I can.
Actually,
sorry, yeah.
I have one more thing. So a while ago, obviously, a couple months at this point, Jared, you made the decision to leave Sayonara. After having like not really played with them. What was the philosophy behind that?
I mean, I don't think I can really say personally without.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's better if we don't say why.
All right,
Oh,
that's
like,
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Interesting.
No beef between us though. No beef.
It's nothing between us. Not nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I'm pretty sure you can figure it out from like some sort of context clues.
Context.
All right,
And I would have said that you enjoy playing with Starburst more, but
No, that was not the entirely. That's not the entire reason. No.
I'll try and draw some spice out of areas that might not cause proper drama, and just try and go a bit more lighthearted here. So if we kind of move below you guys to, I'd say, where the third place team is, Supernova. I'm going to start with Bagel because I mean, Jared, I'm just going to start with Bagel because I have Bagel preference. What can I say?
I have Bagel preference too. Don't worry, I love this kid.
But so when you go down to third, I'd say it's like Supernova, right? How do you think Supernova compares to both of your teams right now? Like, how far? What's the gap from Supernova to Saya or Supernova to Starburst? Like, from your tier to Supernova tier, what's that distance like?
As of recently, I'm not really sure because like they've been having a lot of roster changes with like Zero not playing as much, or he's playing. I don't know. But other than that, I'm pretty sure they're pretty close to us.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. Well, Jared, do you feel the same? Do you think the Supernova are close to you guys, or do you think there's a bit of a bigger gap between you guys and Supernova?
I feel like there's a pretty bigger gap between us and Supernova. Like, from the NA Open, it was just like a pretty good sweep in my opinion, but like there's still improvement. I know they've had problems right now. Like I've seen problems like in terms of like them playing. So like I can't really. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and feel like they're gonna improve more in the coming days if they actually keep on going.
Yeah, because I think Supernova and even Slaughterhouse, if you go that like kind of one team lower, those two teams are teams that I think have a lot of potential that could like definitely like it could be like the 4 teams contesting second and FT Win being in the top, unlucky, but it could be like the 4 teams contesting second. I think like there's definitely some issues those teams need to work out, but I think when you look at it player for player, pound for pound, they have some amazing talent. I personally rate Power very, very highly. I think Power in my eyes is in competition for the best backline / charger in the West. You know, you have an amazing player there. Taylor, amazing player. I think like Keen and Soldier, again, both really, really good. they clearly have some kind of issues and teamwork stuff, maybe competition stuff they need to work out before they can bring it up to that level. Because player for player, pound for pound, really, really strong teams.
Yeah, true.
I love power.
I like you just look at this team and you're like, okay, can you guys like? It's like you look at this team, they're sitting there, and then you're like poking it with a stick, like do something, guys. Like, come on now, you guys got it in you. I know you have it in you. Just like show me.
I will say it's a bit of a diversion, but I think the few times we've seen Slaughterhouse, they normally kind of play their tent squeezer +1 charger comps, right? I do kind of prefer their look when they're playing the aggressive comps, like personally. When I see them playing like Soldier on Machine, Taylor on Shot, Power on Charger, then Keen on like that support armor stuff, I really, really like that Slaughterhouse look. I know it's not their standard look, but I always feel like I see more success with it. And again, I'm not their coach, you know, I'm not like kind of closely affiliated with the team. As just purely commentator, noob analyst, noob player, whatever. That's kind of my point of view. I don't know if like playing against them, you guys think that they're better or worse in a certain style or whatever, but that's just my take.
I mean, you want me to talk about Slaughterhouse? I mean,
just you can say like one sentence. We don't want to go on too long, but
I feel like they actually can be really good. I feel, but from what I see on Twitter, they seem to have a lot of confidence problems. At least from what I see from like Soldier and Keen. I feel like if they just like think like, damn, I'm fucking crazy at this game. Then like yeah, they can probably do better. I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just like when they go in tournament, like damn, I don't want to lose. I don't want to humiliate my team or anything. But they just need the confidence. I feel like.
All right, so we've gone over a lot of team stuff and tournament stuff, but I think again I'll give people a time if there's anything they want to chip in with. Anyone can shout at me before I move on. But if not, then sorry.
No, I don't really think so.
I heard noise, so I was like, yeah.
The smallest thing, I guess, before we move forward, because we're not going to talk about like team specific things beyond this point. Small thing for me is like, are either of you guys planning on playing in the Turf War Open this weekend? Just get your guys' take on that.
Hey, yo, Bagel, you already know what we're doing, right?
Yeah, we're actually playing with Jared.
Yeah, I'm playing with
Jared.
So it's just going to be old Sayonara.
Yeah,
Plus
with
DJ.
DJ.
Yeah.
DJ.
All right,
With DJ. Okay,
that's fair.
nice.
All right, so moving past that, I think we're going to start talking about kind of a discussion that was fueled by a couple of tweets and some stuff going on Twitter. But I mean, just the title is kind of the idea of playing. I put playing flex versus OTP. So what I mean by that is being, you know, a flexible player. You're kind of dedicating yourself to playing what your team needs, what the meta dictates, what your composition dictates, what the map, etc., or just being like being one trick, trying to perfect one weapon to the point where you can play it everywhere. To the point where like Bagel has with Nautilus. Nautilus, especially when Bagel picked it up, was not considered a good weapon. Some people considered it an all-right weapon back then, but you know, it's not to the point where people are making tweets about it being broken, which a bit unjustified. But you know, the fact that those tweets are being made says something about the weapon's strength. Still, it's definitely going to be good, and people are doing well with it. And if you can play a weapon to the point where you can get that good with it, is it more worth the one trick than being flexible and playing around your team? So, like, I don't know. But first off, like, Jared, do you consider yourself a flex player? Like, select? Because I guess you kind of flex a bit, but you're not like fully flex. Like, how would you consider yourself?
So to preface this, every team like obviously has their like dedicated roles of people, right? So you have your support player, you have probably like one or two slayers on your team, you have some like midline support. Maybe sometimes they play a little bit more aggressive, maybe sometimes they play a little bit more supportive, one of the two. And then you have an anchor, right? Where that, or you know, more of a backline, or maybe that's even a midline. You know, you swap out that traditional anchor backline role for a more like aggressive look where you're going for like a midline weapon, right? So the point of this is more so like, and I don't know if you have the tweets pulled up, if you have them on separate slides or the same slide or whatever, but more so like talking about, because these two tweets were made in literally over the course of the weekend. Well, Tara says, I wish we had more people that were like one tricks. And Sendo comes online and says, I think we should start implementing weapon bans in tournaments. So like those two like inherently cannot coexist. So I guess my primary question is, which one is more valuable for the team? Is it having a one trick, or is it having a little bit more flexibility? And then which one should be tested in terms of skill? So I guess Jared, Ninja wanted to hear from you first, and maybe like what you consider yourself in terms of like, you know, that little area.
I mean, you can consider me a flex player, but all the weapons that I say I'm flexing are mainly shooters. I play dualies, I play shot, K-Pro, like I guess I can play machine sometimes, but like I wouldn't consider myself a flex player. Like all shooters usually play the same, so it's like not that complicated for me. So I just say I'm a basic shooter player slash dually. Wouldn't say I'm a flex.
Okay, so then like, which do you think is more valuable? Do you think, and maybe you two have differing opinions, and I want to hear this. I want to have this conversation. Which is more valuable, having the flexible player that can play multiple different weapons and slot into the composition better, or having a player that you can like always rely on to just absolutely pop off when they have like a specific weapon in their hands?
Well, I think it's better just to have them play what you want. Like if you're playing a one trick, that's perfectly fine. You like any composition I feel can work, which is why I also don't agree with the banning weapon thing, because like there's no weapon that's so polarizing that you have to ban it or whatever. Like
CJ.
it's shut up. But like a one trick is super useful, but it's only as useful as much as your team wants to make it useful. Like he can be the most cracked squeezer in the world or most cracked charger or tent in the world, but it doesn't matter if you don't have the team that revolves around it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point in my opinion, because I think, again, you could have, let's take Inkbrush for example. So you could have a crazy OTP Inkbrush player, but I feel like if you kind of slap them on a team with, I'm just trying to think of like a not great Inkbrush comp, like maybe like Heavy Remix, and then maybe, I don't know, a Machine player and a 10. Like, it doesn't sound like the worst comp in the world, but you don't have any bombs. Like, you don't really have like the greatest specials for free contest. Like, it was a very off the brain kind of comp that's kind of good, but also lacks a lot of things, if you know what I mean. So I feel like it is important to, again, as you said, have the team play around it, because I feel like when you look at a team like Sayonara, you have Bagel, who is, you know, he's a one trick at Nautilus, and I mean, he's playing mini net a lot now actually, and doing really well with it, but kind of mainly focusing on the Nautilus side. And when the team plays around it, it can like come to large success. And I was going to say actually, Bagel, like being a Nautilus one trick, do you think like how much do you think? Because obviously it has helped you, but how much do you think dedicating yourself to this one weapon has helped you?
It's mainly about like me knowing the matchups against other weapons and like what maps are good for Nautilus or not. And that's mainly the main reason why I'm picking up mini and stuff, because it's Nautilus like kind of bad in zones. It doesn't really paint, it just relies on kills, and zones is not really mode for that. And I've also been like trying out other weapons like past month, like Explosher and Tri Slasher, K Roller, K Junior, and stuff like that. Just things to have fun and try out.
So I mean, I guess you could say in a way then, like something I'm picking up from that, it could be beneficial. Like I'm just not saying it is, but it could be beneficial for players to, if they kind of have a weapon they want to become really good at, they can one trick it for extended period of time, and when they've got to kind of the comfort point of it and they understand the weapon very well, they can be like, okay, I understand this weapon very well, and then I can now understand that I don't want to play it on this map, and I really don't want to play it here, you know, and I want to, you know, kind of flex to this now and flex to this now. It's like, is that something agreeable, or have I taken the wrong thing?
That's basically it.
Yeah, that's the important thing, is like identifying those weaknesses in that comfort weapon, right? And then it's like, what other weapons could potentially be good? Can I go try some of those out in like a scrim or even a competitive environment? And I think that'll just like help propel you on forward, right? So I think like the inherent idea of one tricks is not bad, and I think to Tara's point, it could help like fundamentally help you understand the game better, or at least from like your perspective or like your role on the team. You know, what is your role as the Nautilus, as the Charger, as, you know, whatever. What exactly is that? What kinds of positions are you taking? Things like that, and what kinds of things are you helping do to propel your team to victory? To Bagel's point, by the way, Bagel, that's you mentioned something very subtly, but I want to go back to. Are you going to tell me that zones is actually not deathmatch?
It's not. You have to like not go for fall off. You know, just paint zone.
Wait, I can't go for fall off?
Nah. I'm sorry, Ninja, but
I agree with Bagel here. You just special. It's not deathmatch. It's like the most non-deathmatch mode in the game.
yeah.
I've been learning how to fall off all week. I was planning on going pro again because
I saw your Twitter clip.
Yeah, you saw my Twitter clip. That was
hashtag telekinesis.
hashtag telekinesis. Hashtag telekinesis. Yeah. What can I say?
But no, I mean, like,
let's pick up sometimes where I'll make you a pro player again. You need to come back to this scene. Everybody needs to come back.
But no, that like. By the way, so separate comment. Don't act like zones is a deathmatch because it's not. There's that's a lot of the reason why everyone just screams paint the zone all of the time because you all start going for kills and the zone's not painted. Like that's one of the things that I yell at all of the time on some of my broadcasts. It's like, man, guys, if we painted the zone, we could have like those 2 or 3 extra points. And sometimes those 2 or 3 extra points aren't important. Sometimes they really are important, right? So knowing exactly where that comes into play is also very important there as well. But yeah, I mean, I think like, you know, to Bagel's point and to Tara's point, I think like having that one trick is going to help you maybe understand the game in a little bit more of a different light and understand how you want to play the game, right? And then what the weaknesses of your, you know, what your role is, what your weapon is, and then seeing where else you can go from there. But bringing it back to like Sendo's point, do you think that we should have tournaments that specifically prevent players from playing certain weapons? I know, Jared, you kind of already commented on this.
Yeah, I still feel like it's a horrible idea. Like,
as much as I hate CJet, I don't think so. Because like, there's not really a weapon that's like super broken as of right now. Like from the previous patch, we've seen those 3 weapons. You know, Bamboo, Brella, and CDS. They were just dominating everybody, but I feel like in this patch it's only CJ. But that's it.
I think
you can still counter it.
If I'm to play devil's advocate, I'm really good at English, guys. If I'm to play devil's advocate here, and say that, so it's not more so that I feel like Sendu's trying to ban the broken weapons, and it's more trying to keep players and teams kind of on their toes, quote unquote, I suppose. I'm like trying to think of my best way to phrase it. So we can't just allow one person to one-trick this weapon, or we can't allow, let's say put it this way, we can't allow Gru to just play around race spam all the time, and we have to force them to have another composition idea and another like kind of some like set composition that they can play when CJet gets banned, because you know they no longer have that option. And it's not that like Hypnos himself can't play more than CJet, but maybe the team as a whole is going to struggle not playing around CJet because that's happened in scrimming for ages. I think personally, I would like to see this kind of format come out in like, you know, like what I'm sure it's going to come. Sendu's going to do it in one of his tournaments. Let's be real. Probably next in the zone, we're going to see it experimented once. And I'd like to see that. Whether it ends up being good or bad, I don't know. But I don't think it will just be to kind of ban one weapon. I think it's more for variety. I don't know, like, are you guys more on board with it? Or do you think even with like it trying to bring variety, do you not think that's a good idea? Like even some sort of strategic level of play, like what do you guys think?
I mean, if you're like complaining about like Grugu's raid and like you're like, oh man, I just can't beat them, I need to get rid of this raid, then like you're doing something wrong. Then maybe you need to make your own variety, not them. Like you don't have to ban. If you have to ban a weapon just to have a chance of beating the team, I feel like it's not right. Like that's on you. You need to think of something else. Go back to the drawing board and just come up with something new. It's not it's not like you're like, it's not the comp that's making you lose. It's you that's making you lose.
Yeah, I think that's a good statement in general, and that can go out to everyone that complains about every single meta and every single comp. Like for the last how many patches has this game had where people will still complain about the meta and comp?
Jared really just came out here and just said, "Get good."
Yeah,
just get better, including like goes to everyone, including me. Just get better. No more complaining.
Yeah.
Like, if you lose a certain raise spam, missile spam, like bro, there's counters to everything. You just gotta think better, not hold forward.
Okay, but on that note, wait a minute, Jared, why should I bother thinking about this game when I can just like hold forward and paint the floor and have fun?
W key gang.
True.
I mean, you can do that, but like, I don't know.
You won't win.
Yeah,
I'm memeing by the way. I mean, I honestly feel like I've put more thought into this game than some of its player base. And sometimes, and I don't even play the game myself, so that's sometimes a little bit scary to think about. But in any event, no, I mean, like, I honestly think bringing it back on around to the main topic here, I don't think that like a major anytime soon is going to have weapon bans. You know, the game is balanced enough to the point where there's not like one weapon that's completely busted, and maybe there's going to be people that are busted on specific weapons. But at that point, if you want to get busted on a specific weapon, just play that weapon a bunch and learn how to play the weapon, like Bagel just did for Nautilus.
Yeah.
You know, like there are like ways. It just is going to be a function of putting in the hours, I think, in a lot of cases. So maybe to your point, it might be fun to try it in like a tournament to see what the consequences are, but it certainly isn't going to be anything that like majorly comes back. I think one of the major pushbacks though is that Sendo's tournaments have been like some of the only consistent ones over the course of the past bit of time, right? There's been like Saturday Morning Coffee, there's been the new stuff from Inkling Performance Labs, and there's been Sendo's events. And that's been pretty much it. Which, kind of sounds like a lot and actually isn't at the same time, right? So I think like, and one of the other things is that Sendo's tournaments are most often one of the ones where you get the most amount of like regional crossplay, right, between North America and Europe at the highest level. It tends to attract just more of the like +1, +2 crowd. So when you have these events that are trying like a little bit more weirder rule sets for some of the most consistent like measures of skill that this community currently has, there's going to be a little bit more backlash to that than I think like a lot of people are giving the idea credit for. So I think that's also something to consider, right? Just what the tournament actually is. Is Sendo's tournament actually something that is meaningful? And like maybe that's a question for you two, Bagel and Jared. Like, where does like an In the Zone rank on like your resume, right, in competitive? Is it something that should be experimented a little bit more with in these different formats, or is it something that you believe should just remain constant?
It should just remain constant. Like I wouldn't want it to like take priority over In the Zone or like something like that. I just feel like there's no need for experimenting that because like if you talk about the bans and stuff, then like you're just banning specials really. Nobody complains about the actual weapon. They complain about the special mostly, if you think about it. Like Bagel's here going on about C-Jet, and he's just like, man, I hate C-Jet, but I know he just hates the Ray. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
his Stingray main weapon. So
I mean, I don't think anyone's mad about like the really slow 4-shot that has no pain, that does like that does like negative damage to you. I don't think anyone's mad about that particularly.
Yeah, but I don't think it's worth experimenting it over like as in the zone. I feel like that tournament's just like. I think a lot of top players like think that tournament's like pretty big, and they don't want it changed.
I can definitely see that perspective, but I think you also need to remember. I feel like In the Zone for Sendu is just kind of like his tournament to try things. Like there wasn't a full zones tournament. He wanted to try a full zones tournament, and then he wanted to try a full turf war tournament. He wanted to try like the kind of the smash style of double elim groups, and now he's probably going to try this at some point. I don't think it's too bad to do that. But yeah, what were you going to say, Kbot?
Well, to that point, as a tournament organizer, running the same event month after month gets real old real fast. As a matter of fact, there has only been one time in my history of 5 years of being a tournament organizer where I've run a bi-weekly tournament. And that was like NNCL for a couple of weeks or like maybe like 5 months or so, right? It didn't go very far. And I was doing that with people that I wanted to hang out with. So it was like more fun than anything else for me just to say hi to like the rest of the staff. But otherwise, there's reasons why I don't sign myself up to run weeklies and run bi-weeklies because they get real stale to run or real fast. And so for someone like Sendu or I, it can be a little bit of a drag and be a little bit of a waste of time if you're not actively trying things out. Yeah. So that's something else to consider, at least from the tournament organizer's perspective, in terms of like why he might like mess around with some of this stuff, is because honestly, running the same zones tournament just gets boring. Like it just does. And I understand that, like, again, this is one of the more consistent events. At the same time, at the same time, you have to like consider, is this event really worth be sitting down for my entire day to run? I mean, I'm going to be real. That's one of the reasons why SQSS no longer happens, is because there was a point now where it's just like, I'm running the same event every month. It's not changing. And at this point now, like all of a sudden I was in college and I was trying to run this basically solo because the other two people that were, previously helping kind of like had other things to do too. So like there was just a point where I was like, okay, there's not really much of a point for me to continue running this. And so I stopped. Even though SQSS was a very well respected series in its own right. So keep that all in mind, right? At the end of the day, it is a tournament organizer's call, and they're probably going to pull out some things that they want to try just because they want to see it implemented and they have the resources to do so. So I'm not going to say you have absolutely zero input, but what I am going to say is that like sometimes we want to have fun too as tournament organizers, and our idea of fun is forcing you all to be our guinea pigs. So
Yeah, and that's
put up
fair.
with it.
Like, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think that's fair. Like you're not like tournament organizers are not like obligated to satisfy our needs. Well, we think they are, but not. They're
Yeah.
Did Bagel just say they are?
Yo, Bagel. So
No, like, look, I'm just saying, like, I'm saying, like, if we don't like the rules and stuff, then we're just not playing it.
that is
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's the point too, is that you
Yeah.
have the option of whether or not you want to sign
Yeah.
up. It's not like I'm forcing you to sign up, you know? So obviously I want you to sign up and I want you to play my tournament. But at the same time, like if you don't want to sign up because you don't agree with the rules, then I don't know, maybe tell me that you don't agree with the rules, but you have all the right in the world to not sign up and not play in the tournament.
Yeah. I think one last thing, I'll go for Sendu's thing, because this was something I wanted to bring up at the start. I completely forgot. How would you guys feel about this system for fun, like as an idea? So obviously the losing team bans the weapon, but what about if before they ban the weapon, the winning team can lock a weapon they can't ban? Again, this is an idea that's from other games. So you can just, so Sayonara can say, you can't ban no. Good or bad idea? I'm just throwing it out there.
Can we talk about how much more time that takes?
Just what?
We
Yeah.
can't even get if teams can't even submit a map pick in 30 seconds. Do you really think that we're going to be able to go back and forth on weapon picks?
Look, I'm never seeing that side of things. But okay, very quick. Do you think that would be a fun or unfun idea, Bagel, Jared?
I think it's fun, but honestly, the only way I can see that happening is if you have it predetermined. Like you go into the tournament saying, "I don't want to play this at all." You have it just right on there on the page.
Yeah,
like I don't play this weapon. Not mid match. You can't be like, "Oh, you can't play this weapon anymore." GG's. Like nah.
But then that also like ruins the entire point, right? Because it's supposed to be a counter pick. You're supposed to do it against your opponent.
That's fair, but like if there's some weapon that you just don't want to play against, that's super like, damn, bro, I hate this weapon so much. Get it out of my game. Then do that at the start of the tournament. You don't need to wait mid set to be like, damn, I hate this weapon now all of a sudden, because somebody's destroying me with it. Ban it. Like, nah, it's weird in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we're probably wrapped up on. Oh, sorry, Kbot.
No, I was just about to say the same thing. Unless Bagel had any more thoughts.
Unless Bagel, yeah.
That's another thing that I don't like about counter picks. So like, it just takes forever.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That doesn't sound fun for me as the tournament organizer who like is already trying to yell at teams to get in the lobby to finish their best of threes within 30 minutes time, which you should finish your best of threes within like 20 minutes time if we're being real. But anyway,
Look.
Yeah.
I think
like,
I didn't realize. Sorry, yeah, no.
Like for double limbs, I also don't like them because they also take forever. Because in reality, it's only like the 3 good teams in the tournament, so it's like it's just a bunch of waiting until you actually fight someone good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say also. I think luckily I get away with it because normally I can just like see most people call it stalling, but I didn't even know the commentators had stall because I just end up talking about what I think people will play on Snap Canal Clanblitz for 90 years straight, unironically, because I'm just a nerd. But yeah, I will also say it is painful for the commentators that do actually stall because they're not as much a nerd. They will talk about the 97,000 options the team could play on Snap Canal Clanblitz, but
I will say
the stalling is painful sometimes. Yeah.
The other thing is that you haven't been to an EGTV LAN where we do have like an hour-long, or not an hour, a minute-long counter pick process between maps. So that like then you're like sitting there or even like waiting in the crowd, like you feel it because you're like, wait, isn't this game supposed to start? Because you're so used to like the 90-second timer, but now all of a sudden it's an extra 60 seconds on top of that too. So you're waiting for even longer. So you haven't really experienced true stalling, is basically what I'm about to say. Come fly out to a US LAN when we get those up and running at some point.
Wish.
But I think that'll do it.
Yeah.
TLDR, counterpicking sucks.
So let's move on to the best and most prolific segment. Of course, here we have it.
Here we go.
Oh no!
It's going to be Mass Player of the Week. Of course, it's got to be it. So I don't know, Mass Player of the Week this week. I'm actually happy with this one. It's not a meme, really. It's like a genuine, actual Player of the Week. Someone that I thought really stood out for me. And I'm going to let you. Sorry, yeah, go for it.
I'm pretty sure it's DJ. It has to be DJ. If it's not DJ, you're telling me, bro. I'll give you.
DJ? Okay, that's interesting. Do you have any predictions, Bagel?
It's definitely not Sun.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Definitely not Sun.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Definitely not Sun, and it's got to be DJ. Well, unfortunately, you're both wrong. Kbot, you have any preds? Who's your player of the week? If you were to pick one, you had to pick one right now.
You can't put me on the spot like this.
Okay,
You
never mind.
gotta-
Do it.
Yeah.
No,
Never mind.
Matt, you go first while
All right.
I think.
So my player of the week, standout for me, was like 100% in my head was Silver. From
That
the
was my second guess.
yeah Silver, because I genuinely think that's like so impressive. Like you're a PL Smash player, you're like actually top 100 in your main game, and then you're just like you want to play Splatoon, Jared, and then you just go and win a tournament. Not only you win a tournament, right? Because I originally thought, okay, I'm gonna pick someone from the Super Jared pickup because I still think in my head, even if people won't talk about it, coming back from losing 7 games in a row then winning, that is impressive. I mean, maybe it was because you couldn't play Splat Zones anymore. Who cares about the details? It's still impressive. I think in any video game, coming back from 7 losses in a row and winning 4 in a row is really fucking good. So I had to pick someone. I was like, it's got to be Silver, right? Like, he doesn't even play the game and he comes and wins. So, yeah, genuine player of the week this time. Props to Silver. Doesn't play the game, plays Smash, and he comes back and he fucks people up. Yeah, genuine
Sure.
props.
He might play more though. We'll see.
Silver's
Just
plus
based
1?
off the tournament, he might
Eyes
play more.
emoji.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. How about this? I don't have a player of the week, but what I will maybe start doing, we'll see how far we go, or like maybe I'll do it some episodes, maybe I won't do it others. Kbot's feel good segment of the week.
Okay.
Feel good because the Splatoon community raised $6,700 for the breast cancer research foundation. That was the final number for Ink for Pink. And that's honestly like absolutely absurd given like the times that we're in now, in my opinion. And like even reflecting back on like what Splatoon has done in the past, like there was the $10,000 for Take Back the Block. There was Splat for a Cause raised something like some absurd number, like over 5,000 too. So it's absolutely absurd, honestly, to watch all of this happen. So feel good about the fact that you're in a community that will put together money for a good cause, especially when we put on these events every once in a while for charity. So thank you all for donating for that, for supporting that event, and on the whole, just being around. I will say that was also fun to be a part of as a streamer. I was invited on Friday night, and there are some analytical reviews up on the GSM channel that I did along with J-Man. So that was fun to do as well. But yeah, that was honestly like really impressive and something that I should have brought up a long time ago, honestly, on this show.
I was actually thinking, I'm not gonna lie, you made me kind of feel guilty because I think Silver's an impressive player of the week, but honestly, you can't take back a player of the week when it's set. A player of the week is a very prolific type, can't change. But I would say that maybe if I thought about it earlier, it could have been reconsidered to the whole of the GSM staff. Because I mean, genuine props. They put on an amazing event. They great content all throughout the week. Some of my highlights was Anime Go 9 or Ego 9. Was great. But yeah, and raising a lot of money for great cause.
Major shout out to Melissa, by the way.
Yeah,
who
Melissa
was like one of the primary coordinators for that entire event, the entire week. And was one of the primary drivers behind that entire event. They did absolutely great work, and you all came out and supported it as well. So thank you all for coming on by for that.
Yeah, and Melissa, if you guys don't know, it's Acid Sunshine on like Twitch and Twitter. Yeah. So definitely check out her socials and give her support for all the work that she's putting in. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that about does it for us. We'll go around the block for final shout outs. So I don't know which one of you wants to go first. Plug where the people can find you.
Bagel, you go first.
Oh,
I went first at the start, bro.
Okay, I'll go. You can follow me on Twitter at Angle Bagel, and I sometimes go live on Twitch. I do stream now. I've been streaming more frequently now.
You can watch him get destroyed by Pion again.
Yeah. At Bagel _ SPL.
And Jared?
Okay. You can follow me on Jared _ SPL, obviously. On my Twitch, origami _. And yeah, that's all about for me.
Is that 2 eyes on the origami?
2 eyes, yes, 2 eyes.
Right. Nice. Kbot coming in clutch. And do you have any like tournament plugs this weekend, event plugs that you got to throw out, or
Wanna watch
So
the NA Turf Open?
yeah, NA Turf Open is this weekend. I will actually be on a little house retreat, so I actually will not be around and watching that event. So good luck to everyone competing. Wish you all the best, and can't wait to see on Twitter who wins, because inevitably I'll see that. Who wins the gold points? Outside of that, I think Hitzel's looking to run a speed ladder, Academy speed ladder. So be on the lookout for that. That might be on October 24th or
It's
something.
a very
like
fun
that.
event. Big vouch.
So be on the lookout for that. More announcements coming soon from the Academy. Hopefully you don't have Everyone Pings and Academy muted yet. But that'll happen eventually. In addition, there's at least one other thing that I'm not allowed to talk about. That should be very interesting. Ninja's nodding his head because he knows.
I think everyone here knows.
Everyone here on this
Yeah.
podcast knows, and probably a lot of the people listening know. But we aren't allowed to say it yet.
Ice emoji.
So be on the lookout for more stuff coming from various people's Twitters. That's all I'll say on that. Otherwise, I don't really think that I have anything else. Thank you all for listening. Oh, actually, what I should mention, Ninja's been uploading all of these onto YouTube when he gets the opportunity to. So if you are missing any of them, go back to Ninja's YouTube channel. I also have a playlist of them on my channel that just like links you right to Ninja's videos. So either or, you can. It's Ninja has the same handle on Discord or on YouTube than he does on Twitch. So you can search that, or you can just search Kbot 273. Either way, you should be able to find them if you've missed any of our past episodes for Talk Speed Up. Because I think we made a lot of good content here, and you should definitely go back and watch it.
Clearly forced to subscribe to us both on YouTube then, and follow us both on Twitter and Twitch. That's the only option. I mean, I think I have a panel for the YouTube down below. So if you've only catching Talk Speed Up first time today, you want to catch up, put it on when you're reading, put it on when you're working. I don't know, put it on when you're playing Splatoon. Go and find those episodes. But yeah, I think that's all for us. It's been a really, really fun episode. Thanks so much for coming on, Bagel and Jared. Congratulations on all of your wins to both of you this weekend. I feel like you've both won at least something. So yeah,
and congrats on your steals over one another.
And hopefully we'll see some more for you in the future, potentially in some more tournaments. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. And I think that's gonna be all from Talk Speed Up today. So yeah, I'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.